In just 34 seconds, $47 million in questionable DOJ contracts would unravel everything. Pam Bondi didn't expect the leaked documents. She didn't anticipate Emil Bove's financial records surfacing mid-hearing. Cameras captured her jaw dropping. The Senate chamber erupted in gasps. What did Bondi think she could hide from the White House that only exposed her own tangled web of corruption? At exactly 2:17 p.m. on January 15, 2025, Pam Bondi walked into Senate Hearing Room 216 like she already knew the verdict, but her leather binder nearly slipped from her trembling hands. The mahogany committee desk stretched before her like a courtroom dock, harsh fluorescent lights casting deep shadows across her face. Behind her, reporters whispered into phones, while C-SPAN cameras slowly panned the gallery packed with DOJ officials and White House staffers. Emil Bove sat 3 chairs to her left, his navy suit crisp, American flag pin perfectly aligned, but sweat beading at his temples despite the room's Arctic air conditioning. His briefcase remained unopened, hands folded tightly in his lap, eyes darting between the committee members and the gallery behind him. Senator Maria Gonzalez, the committee chair, adjusted her microphone with surgical precision. "Ms. Bondi, you're here today regarding allegations that you and Mr. Bove facilitated irregular contract approvals within the Department of Justice. The White House has provided us with documentation that raises serious concerns." Bondi's voice carried across the chamber with forced confidence. "Senator, these allegations are baseless political theater. My record as Florida's Attorney General and my brief tenure in the current administration speaks for itself. Any suggestion of impropriety is—" "Ms. Bondi," Senator Gonzalez interrupted, sliding a manila folder across the polished table. "Are you familiar with Apex Consulting Group?" The question hung in the air like smoke. Bondi's eyes narrowed, her fingers unconsciously tapping against her binder's edge. "I would need to review my records." $47 million, Ms. Bondi. The senator's voice cut through the chamber like a blade. Apex Consulting received $47 million in DOJ contracts between March and October 2024. Contracts that bypassed standard procurement protocols. Contracts that Mr. Bove personally approved. Emil Bove shifted in his chair, his flag pin catching the light as his breathing became shallow. The gallery behind them buzzed with sudden energy, reporters frantically typing into phones while camera operators adjusted their angles for clearer shots. Bondi straightened her shoulders, attempting to regain control. "Senator, the Department of Justice processes thousands of contracts annually. I cannot be expected to personally review every—" "But you did review this one, didn't you?" Senator Gonzalez opened the manila folder, revealing a stack of documents. "Your signature appears on 17 separate authorization forms for Apex Consulting. Your personal signature, Ms. Bondi." The chamber fell silent, except for the mechanical whir of air conditioning and the distant clicking of camera shutters. Bondi's face flushed, her hands now visibly shaking as she reached for the water glass beside her microphone. "I sign many documents in the course of my duties, without proper context. Let me provide context." Senator Gonzalez lifted a single sheet of paper. "This is a bank transfer authorization dated April 3, 2024. Your signature, Emil Bove's counter-signature. $2 million transferred to Apex Consulting for, quote, emergency cybersecurity consultation. A company that, according to our investigation, operated out of a virtual office in Delaware and employed exactly 3 people." Emil Bove's flag pin trembled as his chest rose and fell rapidly. His briefcase remained sealed, but his knuckles had turned white from gripping the table's edge. Furthermore, the senator continued, "Apex Consulting's primary shareholder is Meridian Holdings LLC, a company registered in the Cayman Islands. Care to explain your connection to Meridian Holdings, Ms. Bondi? The question detonated like a grenade in the silent chamber. Bondi's water glass slipped from her fingers, sending a cascade across the polished table. She fumbled for napkins while reporters in the gallery leaned forward collectively, sensing blood in the water. I have no knowledge of any Cayman Islands entity, Bondi stammered, dabbing at the spreading water with trembling hands. These insinuations, not insinuations, Miss Bondi, facts. Senator Gonzalez produced another document. Your personal financial disclosure form from March filed with the Office of Government Ethics. Line item 47. Consulting agreement with Meridian Holdings LLC. Estimated value 100. The chamber erupted. Gasps echoed off the mahogany walls, while camera flashes strobed like lightning. Emil Bove's chair creaked as he leaned back, his face draining of color, flag pin now askew as his tie loosened from nervous fidgeting. Bondi's voice cracked like thin ice. That was a legitimate consulting arrangement, predating my government service. Completely unrelated. Predating? Senator Gonzalez's eyebrows lifted. This form is dated March 15, 2024. You began your DOJ position on February 1, 2024. Math isn't my strongest subject, Miss Bondi, but March comes after February. Social media exploded instantly. Bondi files began trending within minutes as clips of her fumbling with water glaciers circulated across platforms. Twitter users dissected every facial expression while TikTok creators turned her stammering responses into viral remixes. CNN's breaking news banner flashed across televisions nationwide. Bondi admits to Cayman Islands payments during DOJ tenure. MSNBC interrupted regular programming to replay the water glass incident in slow motion. Political analysts already crafting theories about the implications. Fox News, notably, remained silent for 17 minutes before issuing a brief statement about ongoing proceedings, while their evening hosts scrambled to develop defensive talking points for Bondi's apparent contradictions. Emil Bove attempted to rescue the situation. Senator, if I may clarify, Mr. Bove, your opportunity will come momentarily. Senator Gonzalez's attention remained fixed on Bondi. But first, Ms. Bondi, let's discuss your personal relationship with James Crawford, Apex Consulting's founder, and the name hit Bondi like a physical blow. Her binder tumbled from the table, scattering papers across the marble floor while she bent to retrieve them, her face hidden from cameras for precious seconds. I don't know anyone by that name, she said from beneath the table, her voice muffled and desperate. Strange, the senator replied, waiting for Bondi to resurface. Because Mr. Crawford was your campaign treasurer during your 2010 Florida Attorney General race. He also attended your wedding in We have photographs, Ms. Bondi, from your own Instagram account. When Bondi finally straightened, her carefully styled hair had come loose, mascara slightly smudged from the stress-induced perspiration. The composed political figure who had entered the hearing room had evaporated, replaced by someone scrambling for any plausible explanation. James and I haven't spoken in years. Any suggestion that I knowingly haven't spoken in years? Senator Gonzalez smiled coldly. Your phone records show 17 calls to Mr. Crawford's personal number between April and September 20, including a 43-minute conversation on the same day you authorized Apex Consulting's largest contract payment. The chamber had become a theater of political destruction. Every reporter present understood they were witnessing a career-ending implosion in real time. Camera operators zoomed in on Bondi's increasingly desperate expressions, while stenographers struggled to keep pace with the rapid-fire revelations. Emil Bove finally opened his briefcase, retrieving a single sheet of paper with shaking hands. Senator, I have a prepared statement. Save it, Mr. Bove. Senator Gonzalez's attention had shifted. Let's discuss your weekend trips to Nassau between June and August 2024. 5 trips, all expenses paid by a company called Caribbean Consulting Services. Care to guess who owns Caribbean Consulting Services? Bove's flag pin finally gave up its struggle and fell to the floor with a tiny metallic ping that somehow carried across the silent chamber. His prepared statement fluttered from his hands like a surrendering white flag. James Crawford, the senator answered her own question. The same James Crawford who owns Apex Consulting. The same James Crawford who's been funding your Caribbean vacations while you approved his company's DOJ contracts. The dominoes were falling faster than anyone could process. What had begun as routine oversight had become a comprehensive exposure of a corruption network spanning from DOJ offices to offshore tax havens. Bondi made one final attempt at damage control. These connections are purely coincidental. The timing, coincidental? Senator Gonzalez opened a thick folder. Bank records show wire transfers from Meridian Holdings to your personal account, totaling $40,000 between March and October. Transfers that occurred within 48 hours of each major Apex Consulting contract approval. That's not coincidence, Ms. Bondi. That's a pattern. The revelation hit the chamber like a tsunami. Reporters frantically updated their news organizations, while committee members exchanged stunned glances. This wasn't just corruption. It was systematic, documented, and completely provable. Emil Bove stood abruptly, his chair toppling backward with a crash that echoed through the chamber like a gunshot. The metallic scraping against marble sent chills through the gallery as he swayed momentarily, gripping the table's edge to steady himself. His face had drained of all color, lips trembling as he struggled to form words. "I invoke my Fifth Amendment rights," he declared, his voice barely above a whisper, cracking on the word rights like a teenager's voice change. The declaration that should have been defiant came out as a desperate plea, each syllable weighted with the knowledge that his career was ending in real time. His walk toward the exit became a spectacle of psychological collapse. Each step grew more unsteady, his expensive Italian leather shoes scuffing against the marble floor as he stumbled past rows of seated spectators. His tie hung loosely around his neck, the crisp navy suit now wrinkled and disheveled, transforming the once polished DOJ official into a broken man fleeing the scene of his own destruction. Cameras followed his retreat with predatory focus, capturing every stumbling step as he pushed through the gallery crowd. Reporters parted like the Red Sea, some extending microphones toward his face, while others simply documented his humiliation with smartphone cameras. His breathing became labored and visible, small puffs of condensation in the chamber's frigid air conditioning. His abandoned briefcase remained open on the committee table, revealing stacks of documents that would undoubtedly become evidence in future criminal proceedings. The papers spilled across the polished surface like scattered leaves, each page potentially containing another damning piece of the corruption puzzle that investigators would soon piece together with methodical precision. Bondi watched her partner's departure with mounting horror. Alone at the witness table, surrounded by damning evidence and hostile questioning, she finally understood the magnitude of her predicament. "Miss Bondi," Senator Gonzalez continued relentlessly, "do you wish to revise any of your previous statements to this committee?" The question hung in the air like a sword. Bondi's political career, her reputation, her freedom, everything balanced on her next words. The chamber waited in absolute silence. C-SPAN cameras capturing every micro-expression. Her hands trembled violently against the mahogany table, leaving visible fingerprints on the polished surface. For 17 agonizing seconds, she stared at the scattered documents before her, each page representing another nail in her political coffin. Her breathing became rapid and shallow, the wireless microphone picking up every labored breath and transmitting it across the nation. Committee members leaned forward in their chairs, sensing the complete psychological breakdown of a once powerful political figure. I need to consult with my attorney, she whispered, her voice barely audible despite the sensitive microphones. As the words left her lips, her carefully constructed facade finally shattered completely. Tears welled in her eyes, mascara beginning to streak down her cheeks in thin black lines that the HD cameras captured in merciless detail. The gallery behind her erupted in muted conversations, reporters frantically texting updates to their newsrooms, while photographers captured every angle of her humiliation. Even seasoned political observers, accustomed to Washington scandals, watched in stunned silence as they witnessed the real-time destruction of a political career built on decades of ambition and careful calculation. The committee chair nodded gravely. This hearing is adjourned pending further investigation. Ms. Bondi, you remain under oath and subject to recall. As the gavel fell, marking the end of Bondi's political credibility, the chamber erupted into chaos. Reporters rushed toward exits, while committee members huddled in urgent conversation. The Senate hearing that was supposed to be routine oversight had become the opening act of what would undoubtedly become a major federal corruption investigation. Within hours, the Department of Justice announced the appointment of a special prosecutor. By evening, federal agents had raided both Bondi's home and Bove's office. The corruption network they had built was unraveling faster than they could contain. Social media continued its merciless dissection. Bondi files dominated trending topics, while late-night comedians crafted material about flag pins and falling water glasses. The political establishment watched in stunned silence as two DOJ officials' careers disintegrated in real time. The White House, meanwhile, issued a carefully worded statement emphasizing their cooperation with congressional oversight and their commitment to transparency. What they didn't mention was that the leaked documents had come from their own investigation, triggered by suspicious financial patterns their ethics team had discovered months earlier. Confidence without facts had proven, once again, to be the fastest path to public humiliation. When over-offerment meets documented evidence, the collision is always spectacular and always devastating. What happens when someone overestimates their ability to hide corruption in the digital age? If errors compound and it accumulates, is political survival ever really possible? If this story entertained or taught you something about accountability in government, like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more political deep dives. What's the most shocking political corruption case you've witnessed? Let us know in the comments below. This dramatized story is inspired by real events and public figures. All dialogue and specific incidents are fictionalism for commentary and educational purposes. No defamation intended, only illustration of how corruption investigations unfold and the importance of government accountability.